I do love you as well. We shall be together forever. We shall be together forever.
Of course. Nothing will stand. Nothing will stand.
Hello.
Hello.
It is John.
Yeah, brother. You're on regular radio.
Oh, it is John Hartman.
Hi.
How are
I'm
you,
sitting
sir?
on the ground.
Yes, yes.
I'm not on the radio at all.
You're on the ground?
Where?
I'm on the radio.
I don't know. I'm lost already.
Filmmaker John Hartman, latest work, Gothenstein,
Yeah.
Bride of Gothenstein, which I was in, which Mike was in, and a whole cast of others. John, your film work goes back many, many moons. We're so glad to have you on again.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
So what do you have going on now, John? What are you doing? Are you working on a film? Are you going to be putting out are you going to put out Gothenstein? What's going on?
Yes, I intend to put out Gothenstein. That's my intention. God knows what will happen. You know how it is with starving artists. You do what you can.
Yeah.
But apparently the footage, the actual 16-millimeter footage for Gothenstein came out looking as German expressionistic or as noiristic as I had hoped, according to the lab.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
So far, so good. Hopefully things will work out kind of well because, I don't know if you guys remember it, but there wasn't a very, very developed script for that. It was kind of mostly done, but not entirely done.
Well, that's, John, that's the third eye filmmaking way. Am I right? Where you just shoot from what you feel?
Yeah, you're right. Of course you're right. Whether or not I have a complete script or even an outline, it doesn't really matter because when you're on the set and you're all dressed up, right, and all the props are in place and you're actually in character, certain things occur to you that would never occur to you on the writing table, right? So a lot of the dialogue goes out the window, and sometimes even an entire scene will go out the window in lieu of something more interesting that occurs to somebody, maybe a cast member, maybe me, maybe somebody else. And so that's kind of how I roll. But I think if I had to choose, I would probably have a complete script just in case, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I usually don't have that. So, but this time I did a little better. It was almost complete.
Mm-hmm. I remember for that shoot, it was in the rain, that shoot. So I don't know if that sort of inspires sort of being more on the fly. What that experience was at the zoo there.
How much of that was improvised that day, that particular scene?
Not much. Most of that was already preconceived. I had been there before. I made a music video for a band called Coyote Cold, which is a local Boston band.
Nice.
So I had the vibe already of what I wanted to do. I really scoped it out well, which is not always a privilege as a filmmaker that's usually pretty broke. You know, you don't always have that privilege to be able to go on location and just kind of like wander around and let me collect the ideas. But I had the chance not only to do that, but I had a chance to work there about a week or two before. So, but that was an isolated case. I usually don't get that opportunity, and a lot of things occurred to me in that prior music video that I did for this band.
You know, a rainy day, syringes on the ground. It was
cold.
Yeah, it was freaking cold, man.
And cold, yeah. That was probably one of the more brutal working conditions, I guess you'd say.
Like all day long, and there was only 2 isolated cases where it stopped raining.
Kind of stopped for a little bit.
If it had not stopped raining those 2 times, I don't think we would have finished the film.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what's happened some of the times with your work is what I've noticed is you have the main film, and then you kind of have like smaller projects based off the main film. Is that intended, or is that like, hey, look, I got this cool footage or this idea. I want to use the same cast and shoot this little kind of B movie, like this little side project?
Yeah, I would say it's a combination of the two. I don't necessarily plan those things out, but you know, if you just take along that little tiny GoPro camera that I have, and you get behind the scenes footage just for the heck of it, just for fun, for nostalgia. Sometimes after the fact, certain things occur to me. And then I think, hey, man, you know, if I did this and I just added a little bit more, I'd have another film, and you can do all kinds of supplemental things. So it's somewhere in between. I don't necessarily plan things in terms of supplemental footage. Like the Gothenstein Gangnam Style.
Oh yeah,
video.
I was going to mention that. I like doing Gothenstein. I never saw sort of something that's kind of a takeoff on Frankenstein, leading into the Gangnam Style tribute video there.
Yeah, that was on the fly, totally on the fly. And that was Z Zarbach, my film partner, mentioned that, hey, you know, these two look really good together, and let me show you this craze, this Gangnam Style craze, and you could probably just take this footage and make a video. And she was right. So, yeah, sometimes it happens like that. And honestly, when it happens like that, often it's the best thing I have, because that's the most successful of the 3 films I have so far.
In terms of views? In terms of views online, or
in terms of hits online, yeah, it's got like 1,000 views online.
Yeah,
and I mean that's not the only thing you want to weigh as a factor, but
well, yeah, and then hopefully they'll be like, hey, what else? What is this? What is this thing? You see these people in the costumes, and maybe they'll be looking in on the actual Gothenstein film.
So now, are you going to sequelize this at all, or do you like to move on to something completely different for your next project?
Only if you're going to be in it, Lawrence.
There you go.
What? If I, John, I'll be in whatever you've got.
Yeah, he has the Goth Robot suit ready to go. We got Goth Robot in. Was in Dr. Gothenstein too.
Lord gets in character, man. He gets in character, and it's like, whoa, man, he's having too much fun over here. This big ape outfit.
Oh yeah, you were in the ape outfit, Lawrence, right? Outfit. That was for Gothenstein.
With my human head.
That's interesting there. Yeah, Lawrence, you have a good resume now. What do you call it?
It's a suitmation.
Suitmation for those guys who are like the Godzilla type or the Power Ranger monsters who they have the rubber always in the suits. You know what I mean?
John, Mike and I were talking earlier. I don't know how much of big mass market Hollywood crap you follow. But we went and saw Iron Man 3. And but we got to talking that Goth Robot is very much like the classic Iron Man suit, like from the first run of comics.
Yeah.
And how great would it be if you made some kind of, or if a Goth Robot superhero movie were made?
Yeah, that the Goth Robot suit is like an armor.
Of some kind. Or even if he's like some sort of, monster run amok. I mean, a film focusing specifically on Goth Robot.
Yeah, a misunderstood, creature or as a suit of armor for a guy.
Because I've got proof positive about Goth Robot. People love Goth Robot.
Yes,
Women love Goth Robot.
That is an icon.
Okay, all right. I kind of like what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, I've done shorts with Goth Robot as the main character, but I've never thought about a feature. That's, see how the intuitive process works.
Yes, planting the seeds.
You got to get that with the passion. The juices are flowing, man. I dig it.
Yeah.
And just with Goth, you said with Goth Robot before that you have multiple suits.
Yeah, like Iron Man. Like Tony Stark has multiple suits in the new Iron Man film. There are multiple Goth Robots.
There are some exchangeable parts. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess you could say they're different suits. There's about 4 different suits for the 4 different films that Goth Robot is in. Yeah.
Yeah, you said there's like a smaller one now. You said you had a smaller woman was able to wear like a Goth Robot style suit.
Yes, yes, that's called Trash Can Warrior, and I haven't released it yet. I haven't even started editing that yet, so I'm falling behind. But it's interesting that you mentioned that because I just bought a motorcycle, and I haven't really made it public yet.
Cool.
I bought a 1976 Honda 500 double overhead cam, kind of a racy race bike. Anyway, it's a piece of junk, but I'm hoping on driving it from where I'm at now, which is North Carolina, all the way back to Denver. I'm going to make it like a robot motorcycle with a lot like my groovy chopper. If you guys have ever seen pictures of my groovy chopper.
That's like kind of the blue, is it like a bluish bike? Or
yeah, there's a knight shield on it, and there's the Goth Robot head is impaled on the sissy bar in the back. And a lot of people dig that bike because it kind of became a Denver icon.
They go, there's that guy on the bike. I love that sort of.
Yeah, there's that one guy again. Yeah, and when he makes films, it was always a secondary thought.
That's strange, but iconography like that really does pique people's interest. I mean, I like that. I also wanted to ask you the first one of your films, I think, in the earlier one, that Karma Rider. Were you inspired by Easy Rider at all with that?
Oh, Lord have mercy! Of course.
Yeah, yeah, because it's you on the bike.
For me was,
yeah.
a masterpiece. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, even though Karma Rider was not exactly like Easy Rider, I paid homage to that film in a number of scenes from Easy Rider. But to actually drive across country by myself 5 times,
nice,
because of Easy Rider, I really thought that was a great American odyssey. That whole trip, you know, the road trip thing.
Yeah, just that culture too. At the time, you have these two guys who are, you know, they're just a little different. They're the hippies, and they kind of come into town and get harassed just kind of for being themselves too.
You should do it, Mike.
Yeah.
You and Lauren should be. You should be the bikers.
John,
we have our buddy Quincy Briscoe is also a biker. He'll hook us up.
The thought of just getting in my van and going, I get hung up on the funds. What am I going to do for work? See, I get worried about work. I'm not trying to be funny. I get worried about work. Like, what am I going to do? And I know that's a stupid concern, but you do the thing that really I want to do. You have this way about you that's just, it's freeing and it's inspiring. And how did you get there? Mentally, spiritually.
Dude, let me tell you something. It's not from the money, brother. I'll be honest. When I did Karma Rider 10 years ago, I was broke. Man, that whole film cost me $700. I got family and friends to help me out. Mm-hmm. I have a very old used motorcycle. It broke down several times. People helped me, like, fix it on the road. People came out of nowhere, like, wow. Yeah, man, I'll take you to my house and you can live there and I'll fix your bike. And people did this a number of times.
Wow.
So I think the universe really responds well to passion for creating something that people dig seeing and that they're inspired by. And somehow, when you're doing your thing, when you're listening to your calling, somehow things work out. The world has a way of working things out.
Pink belly for the good doctor.
Belly torture! Belly torture! Torture! Pink belly torture! Belly torture! Pink belly torture! Pink belly torture!
Avant-garde is overrated. They won't tell you, but people want to be controlled. They're fear-driven.
Have you graduated? Of course.
Great mechanical wizard. Is this a dream?
Thou still hast difficulty locating the Indy tube, doest thee?
Oh, great mentor. All seems quite lost.
Hast thou not any faith in the great creator that placed us in this position to succeed?
I have done all that I can.
Then thou hast done well, because thou can doest no more than one's best.
If only I were permitted to sustain my existence with food as do ordinary humans, I could keep my strength and find the Indy tube.
Thou knowest that in order to be sensitive enough to find the tube, thou must be as much in tune with the frequencies of art house love.